Okay, good morning. Um, First, I want to apologize for my children in the background. They're already up and moving around, especially the boy. So, I want to explain today's activity. So, if you look at day 2, it says, "Good morning. I hope you are all ready to learn and rock and roll today. We are going to use articles and different graphs to explain the exact same data in different ways." So, this is almost identical to yesterday's assignment. It's just with a different study. So, again, for my class, you're only going to do part 1. So if you hover over, this is part 3, part 2, part 1. I don't feel comfortable. The difference is the same. These two, you have to make a graph, and I just don't feel comfortable making you do that when we've only done it once, and it was before Christmas. So, analyzing the graph is just as important. So you're just going to do part 1. Okay, so here we go. If you do not have a printer, you do not have to, you can just put this on a Google Doc or a blank sheet of paper, a lined piece of paper, and just title it Deadly Windows. Deadly Windows. Okay, so like yesterday, they're doing a study. This is Natasha from Old Dominion University, and she did a study on birds dying when they hit a window, right? So we've all seen this happen. So you have to read this. So you'll read the study. Okay, then we get to the scientific question. Do immigrant birds collide with windows more frequently than expected by their population? All right. So you don't have to do anything there because they already gave you the question. What are they studying? What is the hypothesis? Well, it's at, oh shoot, I'll give you a clue. It's at the end of the reading. So what she thinks will happen is at the end of the reading. So that's the hypothesis. And she actually kind of gives 2. It's like, if this happens, then this. But if this happens, then this. All right, so you're going to underline that in the reading. All right, scientific data. So this is the data that she found. So she put up nets in front of windows, and she caught 50 residential birds and 1 window collision. That means they hit the window and they fell on the ground and died. Then she had 129 netted migrant birds, and then 23 window collisions. So 23 hit the window and died. Okay. You do not have to fill out anything down here. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay. What data will you graph to answer? So what is the independent variable? What is the dependent variable? Use the same thing I did yesterday. If you don't remember, go ahead and go back to Google. Google the difference. And then after reading, come up with the independent variable and the dependent variable. All right, here's a graph that graphs this data. So residential birds netted here, window collisions here. And then that's for residential birds. Then we have migrant birds, netted, and window collisions. Okay, so this is the proportion of birds. So it's more of a percent than it is a number. Okay, so make a claim that answers the scientific question. So the scientific question was, do migrant birds collide with windows more frequently than expected by their population? So that's what that proportion is. It's the proportion of their population compared to the number of birds. So this is a high proportion for migrant. So do you think, yes, migrant birds more frequently, or hang on. Go back to the question. Yes, migrant birds collide with windows more frequently than expected by their population, or no, migrant birds do not collide with windows more frequently than expected by their population. Those are your 2 options. That's the only way, 2 ways to answer that. Okay, what evidence was used to write your claim? So did you use the table or the graph? And now explain your reasoning and why the evidence supports your claim. So what about the table or the graph helped you come to your claim? Say yes or no. Connect the data back to the reason why windows and mirrored surfaces may be dangerous for birds. This is in the reading, so you need to read because I'll be looking for something about this. Okay. Did the data support one, both, or neither Natasha's? My apologies. Okay. Natasha's alternate hypotheses. So go back. It was the last paragraph in the reading. Read what she thought would happen. Does the evidence support that? And then the last one again. What new questions should be investigated to build on this research? What future data should be collected to answer your questions? So what could she do now? How could she take this further? Okay. And that's it. If you look at part 2, same questions, and then you have to graph. Part 3, oh, that's part 1. Part 3, you have to do like the y-axis, x-axis, So I know that you would just end up copying it, so it's a waste of time. When we get back together, or maybe in a lesson via YouTube, I will teach you how to do graphs again, and we can do one together. So if you have any more questions, feel free to email me or put a comment on this page. I'll talk to you soon.